Number 1. Tesla Model 2. Hey everyone, welcome back. Let's talk about one of the most talked about future cars on the internet right now. The 2026 Tesla Model 2. This is the vehicle a lot of people have been waiting for, because if Tesla gets this right, it could be the most accessible Tesla ever. Smaller, more affordable, and designed for everyday life. The Model 2 feels like Tesla's next big move toward the mainstream. Before we jump in real quick, if you enjoy hearing about upcoming cars in plain language without the hype overload, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps a ton, and you won't miss future updates like this one. Alright, back to the Model 2. So let's start with the design. The 2026 Tesla Model 2 is expected to keep that unmistakable Tesla look, but in a much more compact, city-friendly shape. Think clean lines, a smooth front end, and a slightly sportier stance than what we've seen on the Model 3 or Model Y. It's modern, minimal, and very Tesla, but scaled down in a way that makes it feel approachable instead of intimidating. Now, powertrain-wise, the Model 2 is all about efficiency. While Tesla is known for full electric, the big focus here is maximizing range and keeping costs low. Whether that means a next-gen electric setup or some form of range-extending tech, the idea is simple. Easy daily driving, low running costs, and no drama. It's not trying to be the fastest Tesla, it's trying to be the smartest one. Off-road features might sound surprising for a small Tesla, but don't think hardcore trails. This is more about confidence. A slightly higher ride height than a typical compact car, smart traction control, and stability systems that make it feel solid in rain, snow, or rough city roads. It's designed to handle real-world conditions, not just perfect pavement. Inside, the Model 2 is expected to double down on simplicity. A clean cabin, a central touchscreen doing most of the work, fewer physical buttons and materials that feel durable and modern. Compared to older Teslas, this one is rumored to focus more on practicality. Smart storage, comfortable seating, and a layout that just works for daily life. It's less about showing off and more about usability. Pricing is the real headline here. The 2026 Tesla Model 2 is expected to come in significantly cheaper than any Tesla before it. That alone changes the game. Suddenly, owning a Tesla isn't just a dream for tech lovers, it becomes a realistic option for first-time buyers and younger drivers. Compared to past Tesla models, this isn't about luxury or performance bragging rights, it's about accessibility. Smaller than the Model 3, simpler than the Model Y, and designed to bring more people into the Tesla ecosystem. Number 2. Ford Juice Coupe. You're not going to believe how wild the 2026 Ford Juice Coupe looks on paper. And trust me, it's even more exciting in person. This isn't just a throwback for nostalgia's sake, it's a whole new chapter for a classic. Ford has taken one of the most iconic nameplates from automotive history and given it a serious modern reboot that feels fresh, bold, and surprisingly practical all at once. From the moment you see it, the design grabs your attention. Ford managed to blend that timeless Juice Coupe silhouette with contemporary cues that make it feel aggressive and refined at the same time. The body sits low and wide, with sculpted fenders and a front end that just means business. The headlights have this sharp LED signature that gives it a fierce stare. And the grille, man, it's got just enough chrome to feel classic without going overboard. It's the kind of design that'll make you turn around twice, even if you're not a vintage car fan. But what's really interesting about the 2026 Juice Coupe is what's under the skin. Instead of sticking with a purely traditional muscle setup, Ford is stepping into the future with a hybrid engine that balances power and efficiency in a way that feels right for 2026. You still get that satisfying punch when you hit the throttle, but it also cruises smoothly around town without guzzling gas. It's the best of both worlds, respecting the heritage while embracing smarter performance. No weird tech that feels out of place, just a driving feel that's confident and engaging. Now, you might be wondering about off-road features, and while this isn't a dirt track vehicle, Ford did give it some surprising versatility. The suspension setup feels planted enough for spirited canyon runs, but also adjustable enough to handle gravel roads and uneven pavement without drama. It's like Ford said, you might want to take this thing out of the city sometimes, and then built it so you actually can. Step inside, and the interior is a pleasant surprise. There's a clear nod to classic muscle car style with some retro touches, but everything feels fresh and comfortable. The seats are supportive for longer drives. The materials feel solid and well put together, and the controls are intuitive. There's a touchscreen with all the modern amenities you'd expect, but it doesn't overwhelm you. Ford has struck that sweet spot where the cabin feels modern without losing character. It's a place you want to spend time in, whether you're cruising to a show or heading out for a long weekend. And let's talk pricing, because this is where the Deuce Coupe could really shake things up. Ford seems to be positioning it right in that sweet value range, where classic-inspired cool meets practical, everyday usability. It's not going to cost an arm and a leg like some limited edition throwbacks do, but it doesn't feel cheap either. You get a lot of car for your money: style, performance, versatility, and a name that really means something. Number 3. Toyota Corolla Cross. That's exactly the vibe heading into the 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross. And if the early previews are anything to judge by, Toyota has another winner on its hands. This isn't a flashy supercar or a wild concept. It's the kind of SUV you live with, day in and day out. And it's shaping up to be smarter, more capable, and just more enjoyable than ever. Right off the bat, the design feels like a nice evolution rather than a reinvention. The 2026 Corolla Cross still has that compact profile we know and love, but there's a bit more presence this time around. The front end looks a bit bolder, with sharper LED lighting and a grille that's confident without being aggressive. The body lines are cleaner, the stance feels slightly more planted, and overall it just looks like it belongs in 2026, modern without trying too hard. One of the biggest talking points this year is the hybrid engine option, because honestly, that's where a lot of buyers are leaning these days. Toyota's been refining its hybrid tech for years, and the Corolla Cross seems to be benefiting from all of that experience. The hybrid setup promises smooth acceleration, excellent fuel economy, and that kind of effortless driving you don't even notice until you check the gauge and say, wow, still half a tank left. It's the kind of everyday efficiency that makes errands, commutes, and road trips feel easier on the wallet and a little more fun. Now, you might be surprised to hear this, but even though the Corolla Cross isn't marketed as a rugged off-roader, Toyota has added a bit more confidence off the beaten path this time around. Think better traction control, optional all-wheel drive that's tuned for real-world conditions, and a suspension setup that can handle gravel roads or light trails without getting nervous. It's not going rock crawling, but it won't shy away from a weekend adventure, and honestly, that's exactly what most people need. Step inside, and the interior feels like a meaningful upgrade. Toyota didn't just slap in a touchscreen and call it a day. The whole cabin feels more thoughtful. The display is larger and more responsive. The materials feel nicer to the touch, and there's plenty of space for passengers and cargo. It's cozy, it's practical, and it feels like a place you'd actually want to spend time. Compared to older Corolla Cross models, it's a noticeable step up in refinement without losing that utilitarian appeal. Pricing is another area where the Corolla Cross has always shined, and the 2026 model looks to continue that trend. Toyota seems committed to keeping it in a range that makes sense for families, young professionals, and anyone looking for a dependable compact SUV without paying luxury prices. When you stack up what you're getting, solid performance, hybrid efficiency, everyday versatility, and trusted reliability, it's easy to see why this is such a compelling choice. Number 4. Honda CR-V. The 2026 Honda CR-V looks in the latest previews, and honestly, it might be one of the smartest compact SUV updates we've seen in years. Honda isn't chasing flashiness here. They're doubling down on what actually matters for everyday drivers: comfort, efficiency, usability, and all-around capability. If you're in the market for an SUV that's easy to live with, but still feels modern and confident, this is one you'll want to stick around for. From the moment you first see it, the 2026 CR-V just feels a bit more grown up. The exterior still has that familiar silhouette we know and love, but with cleaner lines and a more confident stance. The LED headlights are a little sharper, the front grille feels more purposeful, and the overall look is just more cohesive. It's subtle, but in a good way, like it's quietly saying, "Yeah, I've arrived," without trying too hard. One of the biggest talking points this year is the hybrid engine options Honda is offering. The CR-V's hybrid setup has already built a strong reputation for smooth, easygoing performance and great fuel economy, and the 2026 version seems to take that even further. You don't need to be a hybrid expert to appreciate how usable this powertrain feels. It's smooth off the line, responsive in town, and efficient on the highway. It's the kind of setup that makes daily driving effortless and long trips more relaxing, without any weird quirks or fuss. And of course, because it's a Honda, there's a bit more capability than you might expect if you like to go beyond paved roads. I'm not talking full-on trail rig, this isn't a Jeep. But the available all-wheel drive and smarter traction systems give the CR-V a level of confidence that's really welcome if you hit snow, gravel, or light trails on weekends. It feels planted and sure-footed without sacrificing comfort. Step inside and the interior is where the CR-V starts to feel really special. Honda has clearly stepped up the materials and the layout feels more intuitive and modern. Bigger screens that make sense, physical controls where you actually want them, and seats that feel supportive even after a few hours on the road. The space is generous too. Passengers up front and in the back have room to stretch, and the cargo area is big enough to handle anything from groceries to gear. Compared to older CR-Vs, this feels like a meaningful leap forward in comfort and usability. Now let's talk pricing, because this is one area the CR-V has always stood out. Honda seems poised to keep the 2026 CR-V in a range that feels fair. Not budget bare bones, but excellent value for what you get. You're not paying luxury prices, but you're getting reliability, practicality, efficiency, and resale value that's usually better than the competition. And when you stack all that up, it's easy to see why people keep choosing the CR-V year after year. Number 5. Subaru 360. I've got to share this. The 2026 Subaru 360 is officially back, and it's nothing like what most people expected. Subaru has taken one of its most iconic classics, the original Ladybug microcar, and completely rethought it for modern driving. It's tiny, yes, but this new 360 feels like it could actually change how a lot of people think about city cars and fun urban mobility. Right from the moment you see it, that familiar rounded shape hits you. It's like a dose of pure nostalgia. But Subaru didn't just copy the old design. They modernized it with smooth aerodynamic bodywork, flush door handles, and updated LED lighting that feels fresh and futuristic. It's playful, cute, and clearly pays homage to the original, yet it looks right at home in 2026 traffic. Under the hood, or more accurately, under the little lightweight shell, the 2026 Subaru 360 swaps the old gasoline engine for an electric powertrain that's perfectly suited to its size. Now, this isn't about crazy power, but it is about everyday usability. With a compact electric motor producing a peppy 80 horsepower and a decent battery range for city driving, this thing zips around town with energy and efficiency that you'll actually enjoy. And speaking of versatility, you might be surprised. Subaru didn't just leave this thing as a basic city runabout. While this isn't a hardcore off-roader, the new 360 benefits from a slightly higher sitting design and stability systems that help it handle uneven streets, light trails, and weekend errands without feeling nervous. It's confidence-inspiring in the kind of real-world situations most of us care about. Inside is where the 2026 360 really shines compared to its predecessor. Subaru kept things simple and uncluttered, echoing the minimalist charm of the original, but added just the right amount of modern comfort. The cabin feels airy thanks to the tall roofline, and despite its compact size, there's more headroom and thoughtful storage spots than you'd expect. The digital instrument cluster blends retro-inspired graphics with current tech, and the infotainment system supports smartphone connectivity without overwhelming you. When it comes to price, Subaru appears to be aiming for something practical and attainable. In other words, a vehicle that doesn't break the bank, but still gives you something unique and fun to drive. That's a huge part of the appeal here, because you're not just paying for nostalgia, you're getting a cute, efficient, and genuinely useful little car for everyday life. And compared to past models, this new 360 isn't just a retro throwback. The original was charming and simple, sure, but limited by its era's technology. This 2026 version blends that spirit with electric power, updated tech, and a thoughtful design that feels both nostalgic and forward-thinking. It's light, responsive, city-savvy, and yes, still undeniably lovable. So tell me, are you into this little throwback meets future city car? Or are you more of a crossover SUV person?